Welcome, y'all.
The lovely Sherri is in the house.
Hey, y'all.
You always just, when you say welcome, y'all, it's just so comforting and calm.
One of our listeners tells me that she feels like she hangs out with me every single day because she goes back and re-listens.
To the ones that you're on?
Yeah, so that she can,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is kind of awesome.
Yeah. So one of the people that rides on our float, she was listening to the podcast. She started listening to the podcast when she found out. And when I saw her on parade day, I was just talking to her like normal, like we're talking right here. And she all of a sudden stops and it's just so weird that you're standing in front of me. I hear your voice all the time. It's like, it's really me.
Yeah. Real person.
So what are you drinking?
Just a Diet Dr. Pepper.
You are no fun.
I have no DD today.
You don't have a designated driver. That's very responsible of you.
Yeah.
I am drinking straight whiskey.
Yeah, see, I'm probably going to go home and drink some Tito's and vodka.
Nice. Tito's and vodka. When you've had a hard day.
Yeah.
Tito's
I've had
and
a
vodka.
hard 6-8 months now.
Oh my God, girl. Slow your roll.
Yeah, well, all I can say.
It keeps you alive.
Keeps me alive. Keeps money in the bank.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Oh, speaking of money in the bank.
Oh, what?
How are we doing on YouTube? I saw this morning. I think we're at 910.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody told me the other day we hit over 900. So we're getting there. Y'all are rocking it.
If we get 90 more, then YouTube starts to push us. And we might actually get a couple of pennies.
A couple pennies every time somebody watches. And then it could turn into 2 pennies, which they're not making pennies anymore. So maybe we could just default straight to a nickel.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes. But I think we have a new Patreon, Shannon, and she has sent me some messages. So I need to get those out for next episode.
Okay.
I'll tell everybody what Shannon said.
All righty.
Okay, girls, what you got for me today?
Okay. So whenever for all this research, I just consume a lot of content. I mean, I really do. I was already doing it. Now I've got a reason to do it. And at work, I had this like 4-day stretch where it was just going to be a ton of data entry.
Oh, yeah. So you were listening the whole time to...
So I listened to something.
Yeah.
And I decided to check on a book. And I felt like I could get a decent book and, download it Kindle and audiobook.
Nice.
And I could listen and then read at home.
Nice.
And I didn't know which one to do. Pulled up a couple of top 100 lists, true crime, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Most of them we've either already done here.
Yeah.
Or somebody else that's in like the top 5 true crime has done that case this year.
Believe it or not, we've done a lot because this is episode 259.
Right.
So,
So this summer I got to do that spreadsheet so we can keep that straight.
I love that you want to do a spreadsheet.
Yeah. I have problems. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd.
No, you're not.
It's okay. The world needs us.
Yes.
And so anyhow, I found this one and I almost forgot it was a true crime book. Back in the 90s, a book came out that kind of took everybody by storm. It was called Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Okay. I just figured it was a fiction story.
It's almost written like a Southern Gothic novel.
Okay.
But it is a real crime, real people.
Ooh.
And so the book came out. Clint Eastwood directed the movie a couple of years, like 97, he directed the movie. But I figured 30 years from the book is enough time that we can do this. And then in my research, I found very, very few people have even touched on this.
Wow.
And it's normally, if there's a podcast or a YouTube show about it, it's normally about the ghost tours in Savannah.
You may be bringing something back and, amping it up for people to get all excited about again.
Maybe so.
So the book is
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So John Cusack and Kevin Spacey starred in the movie. Both of these guys are problematic now for different reasons.
I know, but I like them. I can separate their whatever. I mean, not their illegal stuff, but their political views or whatever.
Yeah. Cusack is more about just kind of hateful to opposed people.
Oh.
Spacey is
he
bad.
I know, and I really liked him. He had some good shit. Okay.
The book, it's got a lot of slurs.
Oh, okay.
Racial and sexual. So
are you going to say them, or are you going to just, okay.
No, but I'm just telling you that when you read the book, it's going to slap you in the face a little bit.
All
because
right.
we haven't heard these words in decades. Not in normal life. Okay. So to set the scene a little bit, the murder we're going to be talking about happened in 1981.
All right.
Reagan was sworn into office that year. Hinckley tried to kill him.
Yes, I remember that. Oh, man. Somebody's listening right now going, oh, my God, she remembers that? She's really old.
Yeah, and that shooting, Hinckley had been able to fudge his gun ownership paperwork, so that kind of changed how we do background checks.
Was Hinckley the one that was obsessed with Jodie Foster?
Yes.
This is so weird. Okay.
Okay, someone tried to kill the Pope.
All this killing.
That led to the bubble car Pope mobile.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. Donkey Kong came out.
Literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's one of the best movies ever made.
Of all time. Yes.
Let's Get Physical was a popular song.
Let's get physical.
Yeah.
Physical.
Jesse's Girl.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
That is. And then REO Speedwagon's Keep On Loving You.
Really good, man.
Yeah, it was a good music year,
yes,
but it was where you started seeing that divide because pop music became very different. You know, there was like the ripped jeans crowd and the shoulder pad crowd.
Grunge and prep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I was on the not so
You're on the grunge side?
Oh.
Yeah.
I played heavy metal guitar.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I wasn't on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I was on the shoulder pad side.
Yeah. Shoulder pads, bows.
Well, I never wore bows in my hair. I thought it was ridiculous. Sorry for those who wore bows in their hair. But this is 81. So I'm like not even in high school yet. So I wasn't really.
I wasn't either. I was in elementary.
Yeah. I wasn't even able to,
to make any of those choices.
Right.
Yeah, and I hadn't even had my Dorothy Hamill haircut. I was not playing heavy metal guitar here. It was later in the 80s that I made it to that. Okay. So, but this was a little different than the rest of the world. This was 1981 in the Old South.
Oh.
Society South.
What part?
Savannah,
Georgia.
A place of cotillions and old money.
Yes, ma'am.
You can be crazy, but not tacky.
Yes. I understand that. I bet you a lot of our listeners understand that too.
Savannah was a very drunk place.
I think it still is.
It still is. I mean, Savannah is like if you smushed Baton Rouge and New Orleans together.
It's a cleaner New Orleans.
It's a cleaner New Orleans, but not as fast paced as Baton Rouge.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Never been. Want to go?
I haven't either.
Want to go?
I had kind of figured you would have been.
Nope.
Okay.
It's part of town, I know.
All right. So, in the book, the city itself is a character. And as far as characters go, we're going to talk about James Arthur Williams, born December 11th, 1930. He went on to study piano and interior design at college, served briefly in the Air Force. That's all I ever heard was briefly.
Okay.
I don't know if that meant that he washed out at boot camp or he served 2 years.
He tried.
Yeah, he went in, got out. That's all I know. And he moved to Savannah and began moving up in society. He kind of set this up because you can't just
I was going to say, how do you start moving up in society if you're not even in it? Like how?
He started kind of founding groups, like groups that restore historical properties.
Oh, and then he would get them.
The museum boards.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that.
That makes sense because you're going to get donations from a lot of people. For
yes. Yes. And, interior design.
Yeah.
He's kind of got an eye for these restoration projects. And he's got just enough gentility about him that he kind of fits in.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not sure, but I don't know if his mom and daddy were married. Because he doesn't have his daddy's last name.
That is not how it works in the Old South.
No, it's not. Okay. So when he was just 24, he bought and restored his first 3 buildings in Savannah.
Well done.
Mm-hmm. In 1968, he bought an island off the coast of Georgia for $5,000.
My God.
And very quickly was able to resell it for $900,000.
Wow.
And that's over $3 million in today's money.
Now you are in society.
He's no longer building wealth. He is filthy freaking rich. And connected.
Right.
Because all of these boards, all of these organizations.
Yes. Makes sense.
His primary job was he was an antique and art dealer and restorer.
Gotcha. That would, again, connect him with a lot of very wealthy people in society.
Oh, yes. And, all things old and beautiful were in his wheelhouse. Old buildings. He was a particular collector of Fabergé items.
Oh.
Okay. Not just eggs. He had some eggs.
Right.
But he had Fabergé cufflinks, Fabergé cigarette cases.
He had very good taste.
He had very good taste. And he wasn't just grabbing somebody's dining room table. He was working with Sotheby's.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. He was
very prominent auction house.
He was moving $1 million paintings, not $10,000 paintings.
Right.
He was moving some crap. So we're talking money.
So we've established James is in it. He is all up in it.
Okay, and he bought the Mercer House in downtown Savannah.
All right.
It's a 15,000 square foot home. One of the only places to survive Sherman.
Was it a plantation?
No.
Okay, what's it called? The what?
Mercer House.
Okay.
It was built by a general, and the most famous person to ever live there was Johnny Mercer, who was a songwriter back in the day.
All right.
Okay. But 15,000 square foot, this home takes up a city block.
Yes. You could definitely hide from your husband if he were mad at you or you were mad at him.
Oh, absolutely. His power in the committees around town led him to having one of the most hugely powerful parties in Savannah society every year. He threw a Christmas party the night before the cotillion.
Wow.
And do you know what a cotillion is? I mean, do I need to get into that?
I would say for the listeners, just gloss over it.
Okay, really quickly. Anybody, your daughter had to be presented to society as a debutante.
Hey, ladies, Bridgerton, okay?
Yeah, and you had to show them off, very formal dance, very formal curtsy.
Yes.
I still have nightmares. I didn't become a deb, but I had to learn the curtsy anyway. You had to go down just a couple of inches off the floor and be able to slowly come up.
Yes, indeed, Bridgerton.
Whew. Anyhow. So the night before the cotillion, he threw this very massive Christmas party, and there was an in box and an out box, and he had everybody's name on index cards before he sent out the invitations and decided who was worth coming to his party.
So I'm assuming this is around the 1950s at this what?
No, we're talking about the late 70s at this point.
Okay. So he's much older.
So he got rich in 68 was whenever he bought that island.
All right. Gotcha. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
70s.
Like Architectural Digest had done write-ups about it. Town and Country had done write-ups about it. I mean, this was a deal. All right. But then there was another party that happened the next night. When all the society ladies are busy, there was a gentleman's only party that was very secret the next night.
Wow.
Yeah. We don't know much about that party.
Okay.
Okay. So, the party was black tie.
Yes.
Formal gowned.
I believe it.
And he only served low country food, which was kind of a kitschy thing about him.
Ah.
Yeah.
Here's some home cooking.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I mean, it was home cooking on a silver platter, but it was still
home cooking.
Okay.
He had rice and gravy at that party, girl.
He had crab, he had shrimp. Yeah, it was just his thing. So, Jim also always had quite a few people working in and around the property. The restoration portion of his business, he did right there on the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Down in the basement was a big portion of it. There was a carriage house. So there was always people in and out, in and out. So, Jim had a weird sleep schedule. He would work late through the night and then sleep a good bit during the day. Kind of like a teenager in his 50s.
Yeah.
Okay, so early
or
in
a vampire.
Mm-hmm. Early in the morning of May 2nd, 1981, the police were called to the Mercer house. Williams greeted the first officers on the scene with, "I shot him. He's in the other room."
Dang.
Mm-hmm. The he that James was speaking of was Danny Lewis Hansford. Danny was laying dead on the carpet in the study with 3 bullet holes in him, head, chest, and back.
Damn. And this just mild-mannered man just...
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me hear it.
Danny was barely 21 years old, and he had been working for...
I think there was more going on.
Living with and sleeping
I was going to say,
James
I think there's a little bit more going on. He had him a sugar daddy.
James is what we would refer to as a lightly closeted gay man.
Lightly closeted.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that was kind of the way we used to do that in the South.
Harold is laughing at that terminology.
Well, like,
thank you for camera switching, Harold. Lightly closeted. Everybody knew, but he didn't officially come out.
Right.
That's lightly closeted.
Anybody that cared enough to know knew.
Yeah.
And all the little housewives could be blissfully ignorant.
And Danny Boy knew because he was participating in this.
He was participating.
Yes, he had a relationship.
In my childhood, I knew several couples that used like fake terms for one another all the time, like roommate, friend.
Oh, yeah.
And this case, James referred to Danny as someone who was helping him out.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. James told everyone that he had some sort of health condition and needed to have someone around at all times.
Helping him out with that dick.
Mm-hmm. I think somebody said, I think on the movie they called it hypoglycemia.
So he had low blood sugar?
He had low blood sugar,
really?
So that required a gay lover.
Wow. Whatever. Hey.
Maybe that's why I never got over
James
my low blood sugar.
Well, I mean, James just, he had to, it's the 80s.
Yeah, it was the 80s and it was in the South and it was society.
Yeah.
Okay. So Danny had a pretty tough life. He had quit school at 13. Right now that sounds insane.
Yeah.
But back then, not so much.
I mean, today's kids probably still do that, especially in rough areas have a rough life.
Yeah. And he was on the street hustling since he moved out or was kicked out at 15.
All right.
He was a total redneck, complete with the rebel flag tattoo.
Wow.
And the loud sports car.
He had that, what was that car with the eagle on the hood?
Trans Am.
Yeah, he had the Trans Am.
Oh, no, Firebird?
I don't know. Whatever. We know what we're talking about.
And I think he did.
Yeah.
Or
of course.
Camaro or something.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, just some loud thing. And he actually aggravated the neighbors a little bit with this.
James would smooth it over.
Yeah. He was not gay himself.
That's okay.
He often had girlfriends on the side. He was kind of gay for pay.
Did he have girlfriends while he was living with James?
Yes.
Did James know this?
Yes.
Okay.
And for that matter, James, I'll go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an either or first name, and his last name's a freaking first name, Williams. So
yeah.
So Jim dated too. Dated women also.
Oh, all right.
Okay. So
he had to keep up the facade.
For
society.
Whenever you're going to certain things, it just looks nice to have a tuxedo and an evening gown.
Yes.
I've known many people that went to functions on each other's arms.
Yeah.
Who weren't dating.
Right.
It wasn't a date. It was just for the photos.
Right.
They spent the whole night talking to different people, but a nice photo came out of it.
Right.
Anyhow. So James did say he believed that Danny was smart and could do something if he had the right help. But on this night, according to Jim, Danny lost it over an Atari game and went crazy. He began tearing up the house, knocked over an antique grandfather clock, stormed into the study, and tried to shoot James with a Luger.
Wow.
Which was kind of interesting. James seemed to have a lot of Nazi paraphernalia around the house. Hence the Luger. Yeah.
That's a whole nother twist.
And I couldn't figure out what they were mad at him the most for. Whenever I'd listened to old news broadcasts.
Yeah.
Did they hate him for the possible Nazi connection? Or did they hate him for being out as a gay man after all this?
Yeah.
And everybody seemed to have,
Right.
Anyhow. So come in, try to shoot James with a Luger. James grabs another Nazi gun out of his desk and shoots Danny 3 times. Bam, bam, bam.
He's obviously a better aim than Danny because Danny is dead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that night, nearly every cop in Savannah shows up at this house.
And this is 1981, right?
This is 1981.
Okay, just making sure. So here we are at the Mercer house where James is living and Danny is living dead. Cops are there.
And a whole lot of cops that didn't really need to be there and weren't doing anything but being looky-loos, because this is the kind of place they would never, ever have seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Okay. But investigators noticed something pretty stark, even in all the chaos of way too many people being in there and walking around. Not only is it a little hard to stand in one place and shoot someone in the
head, chest,
and back.
Oh. Wow.
That's a little.
Yeah. Sus.
That's a little bit suspicious. Okay.
Double sus.
Mm-hmm. But there was a chair on top of Danny's pants leg.
That had fallen over. Oh.
On top of Danny's pants leg. Just that moment says something has happened here.
Yes.
Okay. So Jim is arrested for murder. And this pissed Jim and his attorney off. And I'm not sure which attorney it was at this point.
Probably a very good one.
Probably. Okay. The attorney and Jim both felt like this should have been handled a little more gently.
Kind of secretive.
Yes. Yeah. Don't arrest him. Don't bring him to jail.
Yeah.
Just give us a phone call and let us deal with it.
We'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they arrested him. And so the attorneys, I don't know if it was Sonny Sellier, Bobby Lee Cook, one or the other, or maybe it was a third attorney that woke a judge up that night, got bond set, and he was out for $25,000.
Oh, that ain't nothing compared to his wealth.
That's what privilege looks like.
Right.
We talk about privilege. If I did something wrong, nobody's waking a judge up for me in the middle of the night.
I agree. I am
with
not
you back home for brunch.
No.
It's not happening.
No.
Okay. So the city really didn't want to believe one of their best and brightest was mixed up in anything this ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And the evidence was pretty tough to overcome, though. The gun that Danny used was free of blood.
So there was a gun by Danny.
There was a gun by Danny's hand.
Okay.
There was a gun
but
underneath
it didn't have any blood on
Danny's hand. But
and if he was shot, it would have blood on it. If he had it in his hand.
If he had it in his hand, and there was blood everywhere else.
Yes.
But there was blood under the gun.
Oh, yeah. Set up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It also appears that the way the bullet holes hit on the wall behind Jim didn't really work out because those bullets were shot from where Danny's head was, not where his feet were.
The trajectory
does not work. Yeah. So you're standing.
Yeah. So you say you shot him there standing, but the trajectory shows that he was down on the ground.
No. This is a 6-foot man.
Okay.
That's laying on the floor now. The bullets came from where his head is, not where his feet were.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. That's 6 foot away.
Yeah.
So they're not lining up correctly.
I gotcha. He was moved.
Or somebody stood where his head was and shot and didn't think that's not where he was standing.
Right.
That's where he landed. And where Danny was shot at, he had like 0.4 seconds of life. I mean, it was an immediate death.
Okay.
Because straight to the heart, straight to the brain. There was no
really good
moving.
shot.
Yeah.
Really good shot.
Really good shot. Okay. The things that were destroyed were all very easily repaired in this massive fit that Danny was supposed to be having. The grandfather clock that he was supposed to have flung down, the clock was easily repaired. Everything else that he was supposed to have knocked down or broken was
serious
easily repaired.
Damage. Yeah.
No serious damage in a house that has millions and millions of antiques in it, millions and millions of dollars of antiques in it. There were so many things that he could have broken, so many ways to break it, that it just seemed weird. The grandfather clock looked more like it was gently laid down and then dropped an inch. The face was cracked, and that's it.
Damn it, James.
Yeah.
Damn it, boy.
Yeah. And there was a part of this fight scene, quote unquote, that is very telling to anybody who's a little meticulous.
Okay.
There was a joint stubbed out on the leather top of the study desk. And we're going to visit that again.
Okay. Because, who puts their... Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Now, back to the case. They go to trial, and lo and behold, William is convicted.
James?
Williams is... Yeah, James. James / Jim Williams.
Okay. He got convicted.
That should be the end of the story. But no. Remember, he is rich and connected.
Yes. So?
They immediately file for appeal. Jim is given another $25,000 bond and allowed to go home.
Well, hopefully at least he's not killing people while he's out on bond.
He is not. Bobby Lee Cook, he was one of the best defense attorneys that have ever lived to this day, was his attorney for this trial.
Oh, wow.
He was likely the inspiration for the character Matlock.
Oh, okay.
He had an 80% success rate on murder charges.
Wow.
That should kind of say something about how likely it is that James did it. He couldn't get him off.
Yeah.
Okay. So this verdict ends up getting set aside eventually. Now, he's out this whole time.
Yeah.
He is hemorrhaging money on legal fees.
Right.
So Sonny Sellier takes over the defense for this trial, and you all have probably seen this man many, many, many times.
Where would we have seen him?
Okay, so Sonny is another wild character in Savannah. His family has been the caretaker of UGA since the 1950s.
Oh, I love UGA.
Now we're on UGA number 11.
I love little baby UGA.
Sonny, attended a game while a student in the University of Georgia Law School. And he and his wife attended the season opener. Their photo was taken with Uga, number 1,
yes.
and the rest is history.
Oh, my gosh.
And his family is still taking care of the current Uga. I think we're on...
You just said 11.
11, yeah. So, yeah.
That's a cool sidebar.
That is. Well, everybody... There are so many people I could talk about.
In this story?
In this story.
Yeah.
Everybody in here is a character.
Okay.
So, yeah, read the book or watch the movie, whichever one.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
I definitely want to watch the movie because I'm terrible about reading books. I fall asleep.
That's okay. That's one of the good things about a book. When you wake up, it's still there. So, Sonny starts the next trial. The DA and James have been in opposing camps for a while because of a feud between Jim and his neighbor. So Jim and his neighbor are fighting, as neighbors sometimes do.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have a 15,000 square foot house, I can't imagine you can just reach out the window and touch your neighbor's house.
No. And it's not typically over neighbor stuff. It's more over these committees and groups and stuff like that.
Kind of, okay.
They're both highfalutin guys, and Jim was trying to squeeze the other one out. Well, his neighbor was funding the DA. On his reelection campaigns.
Conflict of interest much?
Well, what are you going to do in a town? I mean,
I get it, but now the DA, okay, go ahead.
I mean, if I don't want to mention names, but if the larger families in Baton Rouge were to go to trial on something, every judge, every lawyer, every DA would know them.
Yeah, true.
You know,
you're right.
Life. Okay. So in this kind of conflict is what the defense kind of leans into on how they're working the public and a little bit on how they're working the jury to an extent. They're like, hey, he just hates Jim. You know, Jim is a nice guy, yada, da, yada, da. Well, guilty. Trial number 2.
Oh,
guilty.
Immediate appeal.
Yes.
Out on $25,000 bond.
And see, I'm not sure if he was out on bond on this one or not, but there is some jail time that's involved, but he never goes to the state pen.
All right.
Okay. He stays in the local jail on the grounds that he needs to be close to his attorneys for the appeals.
Okay.
Again, privilege.
Yes.
Joe Blow has to send letters to his attorney.
Right.
Now everybody can call, but used to be when you went to, say, Angola.
Yes.
You didn't get phone time.
Right.
Your attorney couldn't just call you and say, hey, I want to see you.
But Jim's got money. So he gets to stay in the little county or city lockup. I don't even know which one it is. During the whole time in jail, Jim manages to keep his business going. He would call Mercer House. I think his mama was there. Okay.
Have his mama do a 3-way phone call because this technology is newfangled, brand new. Right. So the prison doesn't have rules against it yet.
Right. This is like the equivalent of cell phones, like to when that started. 3-way calling, man.
Oh, yeah. It was. And his mama would dial places like Sotheby's, and she would dial art dealers in Paris and stuff like that. And he would keep everything going that way. And as a gay man, he was in protective lockup at the jail.
Makes sense.
So all the gay men and all the mental patients were in there.
Oh.
And I was first, all during this, I was thinking, well, that's horrible. They think that gay people are mentally ill. And then I was thinking, maybe it's just that gay people and mentally ill people would be horrible targets.
Yes.
And it really was about being protective.
Yeah. It sounds, I would think so.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. Yeah, because you never know. This is 81, 82, 83, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I think by this point we're at 83.
So fucking a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And there was one guy that was in lockup one day who thought he was a dog.
Oh.
And he started barking while Jim was on the phone with one of these auction houses.
Tell me Jim lost his shit.
He did not.
Oh.
He played it off.
How did he? What? Oh, he was like, my dog is
Yeah, my dog is barking. The dealer was like, what kind of dog is it?
Oh.
And he said, I want to say he said a Russian wolfhound. And then the guy went to yipping because the other inmates are being bribed a little bit to stay quiet.
Yeah.
You know, Jim's giving them cigarettes or whatever because he's got money. So they're trying to hush him up. So then he started yipping whenever the other inmates are trying to hush him up. And the dealer's like, what is that now? Do you have a Shar-Pei too? And he says, no, I think he said a Yorkie.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, they finally quietened him down. He said, y'all, would somebody please bring the dogs out to the garden? And so they got him really quiet. He finished his deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think on my feet fast like that. I would have never been able to. Yeah.
It just came to him. And the thing is that Jim really is this very flamboyant character. He speaks as if he was from the 1930s. He has this very flowery speech, everything about him, he's thinking on his feet and he's putting on a show all the time. When you watch the movie, the Kevin Spacey character, according to the people that knew him, is pretty much dead on him.
Oh.
Jude Law played Danny, and they played him too mean. But I kind of know why. They only showed him for like 5 minutes of the whole movie.
It wouldn't be, yeah.
So I think that was it. You can't show somebody that occasionally gets violent if you're only in.
They only showed his Atari fit.
They didn't even show his Atari fit.
Oh, they didn't?
They showed him being a turd.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this conviction gets overturned. Third trial comes up. Third trial is a hung jury.
Wow.
There is one holdout. Okay, so now we are at 36 jurors. 35 of them have called him guilty.
Yes.
There's one lone holdout, and I don't know if nobody polled the jury, but they don't know exactly what happened. There was one person who called, it's got another name there. Here, it's like Acadian ambulance. It's a private ambulance service of paramedics. Called there and tried to talk to them about how long would it take somebody to die if they were shot like this? What happens? What do you do? They said they were a juror.
Oh.
Okay.
But
you can't do that.
Right. So did this really happen? Do we know? Or we just think?
This is on record.
Okay.
So this happened.
One of the jurors called an ambulance.
It may have been one of the defense people. But, and then another thing that happened was one of the lady jurors was the wife of a horrible criminal, like a safecracker, arsonist kind of criminal who shouldn't have been on the jury.
So what, was she sympathetic to the situation?
If that's the way it went, because we don't know which way it went, why one woman, we don't know what woman or why, that it might have been. Because people who commit crimes and who live in this criminal world are sympathetic. They don't want long prison terms. And frankly, this should have probably been a manslaughter. Yeah. And not a murder one. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just doesn't make the it doesn't meet the criteria in my mind for murder one. The worst thing about it was trying to clean it up.
Do you think it was heat of the moment?
I think it was. And at the very end, I'm going to kind of tell you what I think went down. Okay. So now we need a fourth trial.
Jesus.
James has
seems like the prosecution would give up after a while.
See, that's where I think the feud actually comes in. Yeah. Because a lot of times they will give up. Mm-hmm. This is the only trial in the state of Georgia that has ever been retried 4 times. Still. I knew it was at that point in 1989 is whenever the 4th trial happened. So we've gone through the 80s trying and retrying this case. Normally prosecutors do give up. They really do. They're like, okay.
I agree. Yeah. They might go twice, but they don't go after that usually.
Yeah. James has spent $750,000 on his defense at this point. Mm-hmm. According to James. I don't know. I didn't see his books. But he has also hired a voodoo woman, and she's been involved in both the third and fourth trials.
Oh, God. Okay.
I know.
This sounds like some New Orleans shit, not some Georgia shit.
And this is why whenever you're reading this book, it reads like a novel. And that's kind of how they labeled it, was a true crime novel.
Well,
because there's all these side characters and there's all this craziness that cannot be involved in a murder case. But it's true. And she would do spells. She would hex the DA. She would do spells on the judge. She would do blessings.
She throwing bones out on the floor and shit.
Yes. Graveyard dirt.
Oh, my God. All of it.
Graveyard dirt collected at midnight. I mean, just all of it.
All right.
All the roots. It's some crazy. Okay. So on this fourth trial, it gets moved to Augusta, Georgia. They had to move it out of Savannah because now we've had 10 years almost. Well, it's 8 years of all of this.
That makes sense that they would move it.
There's no way. Like, people who are in the jewelry pool were in high school.
Yeah.
Hearing about this crap.
Right.
And discussing it. And so anyhow, in May of 1989, James Williams is acquitted of murdering Danny Hansford.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the DA can't go back.
Right.
Because double jeopardy.
You can't. Yeah. Does he have any money left to go home? And
he's still got tons.
Okay. All right.
And he's still got the 15,000 square foot home.
Yes.
Okay. So this Christmas, he has his party again.
Okay.
He did kind of pick and choose people. People were scrambling to get in it still.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
And he'd had others during this time because, I mean, he didn't spend hardly any time in jail during this 8 years.
Right.
Okay. But in January of 1990, James is found dead in his study.
Wow.
And yes, I did say in his study.
Where Danny was.
All
right.
Autopsy showed he died of pneumonia and heart failure.
So nobody killed him?
Mm-mm. Nobody alive did.
Oh, shit. We're going spooky time on this?
Cause of death does not make a lick of sense to me. 48 hours before he was found, James was at a party.
Mm-hmm.
Singing, dancing, playing the piano, having a great time. And he died from pneumonia.
That makes no sense. No, that makes no sense.
No, because you are hacking up a lung.
I know from experience.
Way before you get an actual, you're sick.
Yes.
Leading up to pneumonia. I've seen a few people who could walk around
But you're not dancing and carrying on.
You can't sing.
No.
I can hide a cough for a good little bit, but let me try to belt out a show tune.
No.
It's going to get ugly fast. Okay. And let's see. He was at a party a few days before. Okay. So we're going to go to what I think happened.
All right. Tell me.
Danny and Jim were about to go to London to buy antiques.
All right.
Okay. A few days before, Jim had given Danny a gold necklace.
Okay.
Danny gave it to one of his girlfriends.
Oh.
Which ticked Jim off a little bit.
I guess so.
I think they were bickering.
Okay.
That night. And I
had nothing to do with Atari.
No. I think little white trash Danny, sitting in the study bickering with him, stubbed out his joint on that
leather desk.
Gorgeous leather desk. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Jim.
He was triggered.
Yeah. Then he hopped up, pow, pow, pow. Oh, I don't think it was pow, pow, pow from behind the desk. I think it was pow, pow, walked over to the prone Danny, pow. And then he was like, oh, crap. I done screwed up. Grabbed another gun, stood by Danny's head, thinking he was standing where Danny was standing.
Right.
Shot at his desk twice.
No.
And none of that
Okay, all of that seems plausible to me.
Yeah. And there were problems with the crime scene other than what I mentioned there.
Yeah.
Danny's hand went into a death grip.
Oh.
Okay.
He wouldn't have dropped the gun then.
His bloody hand was sitting on top of the gun. He might have dropped the gun, like dropped it,
but his hand wouldn't have landed right on top.
But the gun wouldn't have been right. Yeah, it wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah.
The gun would have been by his feet, not with his hand resting on it.
Right.
When the shots were fired at the desk, paper from the desk got hit, and there was these little bits of paper everywhere.
Okay.
Well, they were covering the gun that is on the floor.
Oh, well,
you come in, shoot 2 times.
Yeah, the paper, yeah.
So the gun hit the floor and then somebody picked up paper and put over it? No.
Yeah.
So there were, tons and tons of problems. Now, on the prosecution side, there were some problems. They didn't bag his hand correctly. So them saying he had no gunshot residue on his hands or his clothing.
But the defense says because they didn't bag it properly.
Right. And they lied about when they bagged it. There was some prosecutorial misconduct in here.
Yeah. They were grasping.
They were grasping.
That DA wanted to get it so bad. He wanted that conviction.
And the reason why I think this kept getting overturned, I think it might have something to do with that second party.
What do you mean the second party? The
gentleman only party the next night.
Oh. Do you think there was some things going on at that gentleman's only?
There were absolutely some very kinky, nasty stuff going on at that. And it was society people.
So everybody had something to lose.
Oh yeah. Jim knew a lot on a lot of mover and shakers.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And so that's pretty much this. Oh, except for his house is on ghost tours. The Mercer house.
Is the house still a house?
The house is now a museum. His sister did live in there for a very long time.
All right.
But it's now a museum, or the last time I looked, and I didn't bother to check the date on the posting. A museum. There was a little boy about 10 years, maybe a little more before Jim bought it, that had fallen off the roof and gotten impaled on the fence.
Oh, my family thinks that's going to happen to me every time I go down the back stairs.
I can absolutely understand why you think that, because I am.
Yeah.
I am also the slip and fall queen. It just happens. That's why I got the, partially fake leg here. So he's haunting it, that little boy.
And Danny's got to be haunting it.
Danny may be haunting it, and Jim may be haunting it.
Do we need to do a grits road trip?
I would love, we've talked about it like 8 times. There are so many sites here that we've talked about between Lake Charles all the way through to Florida.
Yep.
We got to do it one day.
We got to plan one. We got to sit down and plan one.
Now, like I said, the main sources I used for this was the book. I did the audio and the written. I also rewatched the movie.
Okay.
And there's so much more to the book. You got to figure the book took 12 hours to listen to.
Oh, damn.
Okay. So it's a big novel.
Yes.
The movie was only 2 hours, and I only get you for under an hour.
There's so much more.
There's so many characters.
So everybody needs to go check this out.
Yeah, you do. And it's 30 years. It's interesting to look at how far the world's come in 30 years. Oh, no, now it's 40 years, but 30 years since the book came out.
Yeah.
The murder was about 42, 43 years ago.
A very long time ago.
All right. Do you have anything for us?
Oh my
God.
God.
That's gonna be a little light.
That story was great. Thank you. So the last couple episodes, I've had some trivia, and Kirsten was pretty good at it. She says it's not her forte. So, and these are like some of these, when I read them, I was like, I don't know the answer to that. So I've got a few more of those and we'll finish up the trivia here because I don't have any more after this episode. So what American serial killer, nicknamed the Milwaukee Cannibal, killed and
Dahmer?
You got it. I didn't even finish. Killed and dismembered 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991. Yes.
I tell you, I do this crap a lot.
Dahmer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm probably going to say this name wrong. Mikhail Popovo. I don't even know. It's a Russian name. Mikhail was a Russian rapist and serial killer who tallied over 70 victims in the 1990s and 2000s. So this is kind of, okay. He had a nickname that associated him indirectly with Team Jacob from Twilight. What was the nickname?
Was he the Wolfman or something?
The werewolf.
The werewolf.
Yes.
And he did, like, if I am not mistaken, he used to play chess in these parks.
So, yes. And I did a story on this guy in the very early days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because on his murders, he wanted to complete a whole chessboard.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what I think of him more like than the werewolf.
Yeah.
I'm
agree.
Like,
I would have never gotten that one. So, okay. Pedro Filho killed 100 victims from 1967 to 2003. 47 of those were incarcerated. He was sentenced to 128 years in prison. He was released after 30 years due to maximum sentence allowance allowed by what South American country?
Was it Colombia?
Brazil.
Oh,
you're so close.
And did you do him too?
I don't feel like I did because he killed a lot of people while he was in jail. But I did one where he was killing kids.
He was killing kids.
South
and he
America.
kept getting locked up and kept getting set out.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was him. That name doesn't sound familiar, but I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. So
yeah, the Pedro part, because something about the other one, we kept doing Pedro and Padre when we did that case.
Oh, okay. All right. This one you'll probably get, but let me finish it before you guess.
I'll try.
1972. Which active but yet to be identified serial killer was appointed to Seattle's Crime Prevention Advisory Committee?
Ted Bundy.
You got it. All right. This is one of my favorite. Well, I can't tell you that because it's going to give you the answer.
Yeah, because I know you're.
Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
All featured in what dark 1995 film surrounding a serial killer's numeric obsession?
7.
Yes.
It was the greatest, like
to this day, still.
Yeah.
You can still.
We're not going to talk about it. If you are young enough that you didn't see it at the time, go watch it.
It's amazing.
It was really, really, really good.
Yes. So you've pretty much got all of these, and this is the last one, and I know for a fact you're going to get this one. Sharon Marie Tate Polanski was one of the most famous victims of what cult serial killer's followers?
Charles Manson.
You got it, girl.
Helter Skelter.
Helter Skelter.
Oh, and here's the thing. So she was married to Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Who ended up being a very, very bad guy in his own right.
Oh.
So.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do that story one day.
Maybe.
And probably not enough on it.
Probably not. I mean, sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. These days, that's not really bad.
I do, though. I want to know. I want some input on what book I should read next to do a deep dive.
All right. You heard her, guys. You can email us if you go to the website, www.gritswithasideofmurder.com, and there's a contact section there. You can fill everything out and send what book you think that Sherri should read to do her next deep dive.
And you can always reach me on the Gritsters group.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Go on there and comment. So we have 2 pages on Facebook. The Grits page. And then we have a private group, Gritsters, family, friends, and fans, the Effers. You can go join that group and we can communicate with each other right there on the spot. Mm-hmm. Yes. Like Sherri said at the beginning of the show, we are so close to 1,000 on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
We just need you to grab your mom's phone, grab your friend's phone, go ahead and subscribe.
That extra desk in the office that nobody really sits at, go in there, go to YouTube, hit subscribe.
Subscribe. Perfect. Good idea. And then if you really want to help the show, you can go to patreon/grits. That's Patreon/grits, where you can give us your hard-earned money for microphones and
booze.
And booze.
And booze.
And booze. Really, let's just be honest. And it's just booze.
Yeah. I mean, because we can keep the microphones for a little while, but we do tend to run through the booze pretty quick.
Yeah. Especially when you're drinking Tito's and vodka. Yeah. It goes fast.
It goes real fast.
Oh, my gosh. Harold, thank you for camera switching. Sherri, thanks for that great story. I definitely want to watch the movie. Oh, it's been a while. I'm glad you're back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Anything else? Am I missing? No?
I think that's all.
All right. We love y'all. Tell your mom and him to listen. We're going to let Zydeco Mike take us out.